granite. You can certainly install wood floors. You cannot carry the building like I do in my picture over there. I had to work out many years for that. But you can change finishes. And while it's something that may cost you, $10,000 or $20,000 in terms of a building, it may not be something that you want to pay for necessarily. That being said, some finishes are very expensive and very difficult to change. Things like completely tearing out kitchens and putting them back in, they're a much, much bigger pain than you probably think. Things like changing appliances. Everyone comes into places with white appliances and they say, oh, I'm going to change from white appliances to stainless steel. On a percentage basis, the people that actually do that, probably 1 out of 100 actually went ahead and changed their appliances. It takes a lot of energy, it takes a lot of phone calls. Buying stainless steel appliances is no big deal. Getting rid of white ones, with the exception of throwing them over the balcony, which can really hurt, not so easy. So my suggestion is think critically whether you're really going to make those changes or not, and think critically about whether you're going to pay for them or not. In older buildings, a lot of people ask me, do I get a return on changing the finishes in older buildings? My answer is sometimes. My answer to almost everything is sometimes. You generally see a return on wood floors, not necessarily hardwood, maybe more often it's laminate, but you generally see a return on that. The other stuff is pretty much up in the air, depending on the building, depending on how much you're going to spend. And generally newer buildings have got more modern and nicer finishes, but you also pay more for them, generally. Does anyone have any questions about finishes? Okay. Grant, do you want to ask a question? Okay. The next thing is amenities. And when I talk about amenities, I talk about building amenities. Building amenities are something that you pay for. Now, well, it depends on how high the building is also. A higher rise building and a building with more units will have more amenities. And again, in Toronto, we're very lucky. You can get things like basketball courts. You can get things like pools. You can get things like jacuzzis. You can get things like rooftops. You can get all kinds of interesting facilities. So you can get a bowling alley. I can name you 4 buildings that have bowling alleys. I can name you a building that has a golf course. You can get so many various facilities, it's almost unbelievable. And if you ask for something specific, I could, for example, tell you which buildings have what. If there's something that's important to you, make it important to you. If you like to play squash, why not have it in your building? Make it convenient. If you like to work out, you want a full-out exercise room, not just a small one, go to a building that has a hardcore gym. There's all kinds of different amenities that buildings today offer. A typical question that I get asked, I would say every second day or even comment, is, oh my God, I don't need all these facilities. Why should I pay for them? You don't always pay for them. It varies. In a very high-rise building, you actually amortize the cost by more units, and sometimes your condominium fees are actually lower. I personally like that business model, but everyone likes something different. And the bottom line is you want to sort of qualify or quantify how much and how important amenities are to you versus other things. Does anyone have any questions about amenities? Any particular amenities? The bowling alley? Tennis court? Flea market? Please, sir. I'm sorry? He asked if there are any buildings that have swimming pools you can do laps in. There are many, many of them. Yes. You know what? I think that's an excellent question. Today, many builders have something called an exercise pool, which is tiny. It's basically a glorified bathroom. No offense to Tridell, who's not here anyways. There are many, many buildings that do have lap pools. The Concord 8X buildings particularly have large pools. City Place, Harborview's pool is almost Olympic size, just so you know. But there are many, many buildings really that have large pools. 10 Queens Quay, 10 Yonge Street. I can name you about 10 buildings that all have lap pools. Does that help?